New allegations against Sean Diddy Combs, and these are some of the most horrific yet. A man says he was just 10 years old when the rapper allegedly drugged and sexually assaulted him during what was supposed to be an audition, sending him back to his parents crying and in pain. The latest lawsuits against the music mogul seem to reinforce previous claims made in both civil and criminal court. On Monday, Texas attorney Tony Busby's law firm filed 2 new lawsuits in New York State Supreme Court, alleging that music superstar Sean Diddy Combs sexually assaulted 2 underage boys in the early 2000s, and one of them was allegedly just 10 years old at the time. As if these allegations couldn't get worse, now we've been closely following the legal drama that stalked Sean Combs. Right now, as we know, he's locked up in the Metropolitan Detention Center out in Brooklyn. He's been denied bond twice. His attorneys, though, they plan to try for a 3rd time to get him out of lockup as he waits for trial. He's now going to be petitioning the new judge overseeing this case, Judge Arun Subramaniam. We actually just learned that, when it comes to where he's locked up, multiple agencies are investigating the Metropolitan Detention Center, the MDC, maybe looking into the conditions, maybe doing a sweep of contraband in the area. Now, as we get into these latest developments, I have to warn you, I have to give you a trigger warning here. These details are not only unimaginable, but they're horrifying. They can be incredibly difficult to listen to. I have to tell you, I was reading these lawsuits, and I even winced, because it's so disgusting. It's incredibly disturbing. But look, this is a legal case now, and it's essential to understand what the victims are alleging, the legal basis for their claims, what evidence they may have to support their claims, and the impact that this could have on Sean Combs and, of course, his criminal case. So, with that in mind, we're going to talk about it now. Before we even get into the actual claims of this lawsuit, I have to give you a brief background about where we're at. A grand jury in the Southern District of New York indicted Sean Combs on federal charges of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He was arrested on September 16. He's been, as I said, behind bars ever since, after being denied bail. Prosecutors say that Combs used his money, his influence, to organize what are called freak-offs, essentially orgies that involved hiring male sex workers, procuring drugs, and then filming these sex acts. They claim he used force, fraud, and coercion to get what he wanted, that he engaged in a campaign of sexual exploitation and abuse of women. What do I talk about all the time on Sidebar? I talk about the law. I talk about legal rulings, legal decisions. Now I got a landmark one for you that has just changed things in a very big way, because you can now legally trade on who will win the 2024 election. Yes, this is legal, and that's because our sponsor of Sidebar Key went to court and won legal approval for election trading for the first time in over 100 years. So not only can you essentially bet on the 2024 presidential election winner, but with Key you can bet on who will control the House and Senate, who will win the swing states. You think it's pretty timely what's happening next week, and it's not just politics, by the way. You can bet on other future events too, like will Taylor Swift win Top Artist on Spotify this year? What's going to be the Rotten Tomato score for upcoming movies like Gladiator 2? I actually think it's going to do really well. I think it's going to be above 85% personally, that's what I think. But anyway, there's so much more. You're going to be like, wow, I can trade on that. This is the only place to trade on events like this in all 50 states, and right now, you can sign up using our link ki.com Sidebar, or you can scan the QR code on screen, and if you're one of the first 500 traders who deposit $100,000, she will give you a free $20 credit. That's ki.com Sidebar. The fact that Combs now faces criminal charges in federal court, though it hasn't stopped what has been an onslaught of civil cases against him. In fact, he is facing new allegations every single week, and we told you about Tony Busby, this Texas attorney, who announced that he was going to be filing more than 100 individual civil actions against Sean Combs, and he's been true to his word. I mean, so far, Busby and his partners have filed more than a dozen of these lawsuits, with many more seemingly looming on the horizon. Combs, though, He's always denied any wrongdoing, let's be clear about that both in federal court and in statements released by his attorneys in response to these new civil lawsuits. He's always innocent in a statement. Representative for Combs said Mr. Combs and his legal team have full confidence in the facts, their legal defenses, and the integrity of the judicial process in court. The truth will prevail that Mr. Combs has never sexually assaulted anyone, adult or minor, man or woman. And when it comes to Tony Busby, Sean Combs' team had this to say. The lawyer behind this lawsuit is interested in media attention rather than the truth, as is obvious from his constant press appearances and 1800 number. As we've said before, Mr. Combs cannot respond to every new publicity stunt, even in response to claims that are facially ridiculous or demonstratively false, and it is important to note while Combs has settled at least one lawsuit like the bombshell lawsuit filed by his ex Cassandra Ventura nearly a year ago that started the whole ball rolling with this legal saga, he has not admitted any culpability. While he did apologize on Instagram after the 2016